Okay, so today we're diving into something you use every single day. Right? I mean, everybody does. We're talking about money.
Money. Yeah.
But we're not going to give you the usual advice like how to budget or invest.
Oh, no.
We're going way deeper. Like, what is money, really?
The nitty-gritty.
How does it actually work behind the scenes?
Yeah.
Because once you get that, I think it can really change how you see the world.
Oh, absolutely. It's eye-opening for sure.
So for this deep dive, we've got this fascinating podcast script all about the untold truth of money. And we're going to unpack it all for you.
All right, let's do it.
So the first thing this script really digs into is this idea, money, it doesn't actually have inherent value.
Right. Value, it's not baked into a dollar bill.
It's like we all just collectively agree that it does, right?
Yeah.
It's this piece of paper in your wallet, a $20 bill, it's just it's cotton and ink.
Cotton and ink.
And yet we trust that it has value, right?
And that's the key, isn't it? Trust. We all have to believe in it for it to work. It's like a shared story we all tell ourselves.
Right, exactly. And this script makes this point by looking at how money has taken so many different forms throughout history.
Oh, yeah. From shells to beads to, well, you name it.
I mean, they even talk about these ray stones on the island of Yap. Huge, like massive stone discs.
Oh, I've heard of those. They're like what, like bigger than a person?
Way bigger. And they'd use these stones as money.
And get this, they wouldn't even move them. Like, to trade ownership, they'd just agree, okay, that giant stone over there, it belongs to Bob now.
So wild, right? But the point is, the actual object itself, whether it's a stone or a gold coin or a piece of paper, it's not the real point.
Nope, it's the agreement, the trust. It's like the more people believe in it, the more real it becomes.
Exactly. And that kind of leads us to how money works today. And this is where it gets a little mind-bending.
Oh, yeah, this is where we go down the rabbit hole.
Because most people think, okay, the government prints money, right? And that's that. But the script points out it's way more complicated.
It's not just about printing presses. No, sir.
It's this whole system called fractional reserve banking.
Fractional reserve banking.
Yeah.
And that's how most money is actually created these days.
Right. So imagine you deposit like $1,000 into your bank account.
Okay, $1,000. Got it.
You think it's just sitting there.
Right. Safe and sound.
But here's the thing. The bank doesn't actually have to keep all of that money on hand.
Nope. They only keep a fraction. Hence the name fractional reserve banking.
Right. And they can lend out the rest.
So let's say they lend out $900 of your $1,000 to someone else.
Right. To someone who wants to, I don't know, buy a car or something.
Sure, a car.
Now, that person who got the loan, they spend that $900 and it ends up in someone else's bank account.
And that bank can then lend out a portion of that $900 and so on and so on.
So that initial $1,000 you deposit, it's actually helped create way more money in the system through all this lending. It's like a ripple effect.
It's a multiplier effect. And this is how the money supply grows, not just by printing more bills.
And the script mentions this crazy statistic, I think it was, like only about 10% of the money in the world actually exists as physical cash.
Yeah, about that. Wild, right?
The other 90% is just digital numbers and bank accounts.
It's all about the ones and zeros these days.
Which, I mean, that makes sense when you think about it with online banking and credit cards and everything.
It's the digital age, baby. But it also means the whole system is based on trust in a whole new way.
Right, because if everyone suddenly lost faith in banks and tried to withdraw all their money at once...
Oh boy, talk about a bank run. That's when things get really shaky.
Exactly. Like the Great Depression, which the script mentions. That was a huge example of what happens when trust in the system collapses.
It can bring the whole thing down. So yeah, trust is absolutely essential. And that's why we have things like the FDIC, to ensure deposits and try to prevent those bank runs.
So it's a balancing act, right?
It is.
Fractional reserve banking helps create more money and fuel the economy.
Keeps things moving.
But it also comes with this inherent risk, this need for everyone to keep believing in the system.
A delicate dance, you might say.
And then the script goes on to talk about how money, it's not this neutral thing.
Right, it's not just this innocent tool sitting there.
It can actually create winners and losers.
Unfortunately, that's true.
And they talk about inflation as a big example.
Inflation, prices going up.
Yeah, like you go to the grocery store, everything's suddenly more expensive.
It's like, wait, wasn't that $1 cheaper last week?
And that hits people living paycheck to paycheck really hard, right?
It does. It erodes their purchasing power. They're struggling to make ends meet.
Exactly. But then, on the other hand, if you have a lot of assets, like stocks or real estate, inflation can actually benefit you.
Yeah, those assets tend to go up in value with inflation, so in a way, the rich get richer. It's not a level playing field, unfortunately.
And then there are these powerful institutions, the central banks, like the Federal Reserve.
The Fed!
The big guys.
The script calls them the puppet masters of the economy, which, I mean, it sounds dramatic.
It's a strong image, but it kind of captures the influence they have.
Yeah, they get to decide things like interest rates.
Right. And they control the money supply, trying to keep inflation in check.
Which, again, it affects all of us.
Every single one of us.
Yeah.
Whether it's how much interest you earn on your savings or how much it costs to get a loan, the Fed's decisions have a ripple effect throughout the entire economy. They can even do things like quantitative easing, which is basically injecting money directly into the markets.
It's a lot of power, right?
Yeah.
And it's not always clear how those decisions are being made.
Right. They're not exactly elected officials. So it's a lot to think about.
It is. It's like this whole hidden world operating behind the scenes, affecting our everyday lives in ways we don't always realize.
So to kind of wrap this all up for our listeners, I think the big takeaway here is that money is this really strange mix of things.
It is. It's like a recipe with some unusual ingredients.
It's part shared belief.
We all have to believe in it for it to work.
It's part math
Yeah.
with all these complicated banking systems and algorithms.
Oh, that fractional reserve magic.
And then it's part just like plain unpredictability.
There's always an element of chance, you know? The markets can be volatile.
It's a tool, yeah, but it's a tool with rules that are constantly shifting and changing.
And those rules, they're not always fair and they're not always obvious.
And even the way we think about money, it's constantly evolving, right?
Totally. Like, look at cryptocurrencies. That's a whole new way of thinking about money.
And then there's all this talk about central bank digital currencies. It's like the future of money is being written right now.
We're in the middle of it. So yeah, it's a pretty exciting time to be thinking about all this stuff.
So as you go about your day, swiping your card, paying with your phone, take a second to think about what's actually happening behind the scenes.
Think about that vast network of trust and digital ledgers that make it all possible. It's pretty mind-blowing.
And does knowing all this make you feel more in control? Or maybe a little bit uneasy? I'm not sure.
It's a good question. It's like the more you know about how the sausage is made, sometimes the less appetizing it becomes. But hey, at least you're informed.
Right. And I think one of the most thought-provoking ideas from all this is how much the rules of money have changed over time.
They have. I mean, think about the gold standard. That was a completely different system.
And who knows what the future holds, right?
Exactly. What seems fundamental today could be totally obsolete tomorrow.
So yeah, food for thought. Keep that in mind the next time you check your bank balance.
Or buy a cup of coffee. The world of money, it's always changing.
Always evolving.
That's for sure.